As I sit here flipping through all of my photos, videos, and journal entries, I'm amazed by all the incredible things I've experienced. And yet, when I recall all of these adventures, I can't stop thinking about their cost. Not in monetary value, but their cost to nature. And I can't get out of my head a certain question. A question which was brought to the forefront when answering the cost-benefit analysis question about tourism in my Cohort module. It's a question of whether I am a student or a tourist, an acquirer of knowledge or a depleter of resources, an adventurer or an exploiter. Can I be all these things at once, or do they contradict one another? For I have certainly found myself taking on the role of a student, thinking about how the actions of all stakeholders in a system can impact the environment long term. And my perspective on progress has evolved to encompass sustainability as a core necessity. Additionally, I found that my experiences added to my understanding and appreciation for sustainability, since being able to experience up-close encounters with wildlife, seeing the purpose of conservation when hiking around Carnarvon Gorge, witnessing the melting of glaciers near Mount Cook, and seeing firsthand the agricultural and pastoral industries contributing to water system degradation have been powerful adventures that have expanded my enthusiasm and knowledge about biodiversity, landscape preservation and conservation, and ecosystem management. However, I cannot ignore that I've also been acting as a tourist in all these places, and have been consuming far more resources in the process of having these adventures and learning these new things than I would be if I were not traveling across the world to see them. Thus, the environmental cost of accompanied waste production, fossil fuel usage, and invasion of wild ecosystems and habitats are substantial enough that answering the cost-benefit analysis question posed in our Kaikoura module about tourism took a great deal of thought and was not a straightforward task, as a result of this educational forum that has also opened my mind to ways in which I can question my own place in the world. And so, where is the compromise? After wrestling with this conundrum for a while, the conclusion I've arrived at is that, indeed, I have taken on a number of somewhat contradictory identities and roles during the trip. But I've also realized that in order to generate progress and address sustainability problems, people such as myself need to first learn about them and understand their connections, for education is the pathway to change, and as a future educator myself, my mind has been open to infinite potential for ways in which I could make a difference by spreading the knowledge I've acquired and working to cancel out the environmental costs of my own participation in a program such as this. Being a part of this program has altered my own worldview and instilled in me a critical consciousness of how my actions impact the environment, making me reduce consumption, purchase locally grown foods, and walk or bike rather than drive when possible. And if I were to take a bottoms-up approach and convince an entire community to take these actions, the impacts could be tremendous. This program has reshaped my views on sustainability and done so in such an adventure-filled way that I will never forget or cease to tell others about the experiences I've had in Australia and New Zealand.